Good evening and welcome to Pathways presentation number 7. I am thrilled to introduce our presenter tonight. He's a dynamic leader with exceptional knowledge about pathways. He served District 64 as Pathways Ambassador and Pathways Guide. He is District 64's Pathways expert. You want to know anything about pathways? Lloyd has all the answers. Please help me welcome to present My Account Portfolio Badges 2018-2019 Toastmaster of the Year, Lloyd Gawilliam.
Woo. So welcome everyone. So as Tekla said, we are covering My Account Portfolio and Badges, and I consider this kind of the backwater information because I always push the knowledge about finding your path and finding your projects that you have to complete. And things like My Account, the portfolio and badges, that's just fluff around the edges. And it can be complicated for some people, and it's not even a necessity in pathways. But we'll still cover it. And as I said earlier, we're videotaping this because we'll put this on our YouTube channel and share with everyone that can't attend. I just ask you guys, if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt as I'm moving along. You can just say, hey, Lloyd, or you can also throw something in the chat window. I'll try to monitor the chat. And you'll notice I have somebody called Backup Lloyd who's attending the meeting. And what that is, I've got my tablet over here. Once you start the presentation and I start to share my screen, I cannot see anyone anymore. So what I did is I have my tablet going on over here. So if you have something you want to make a note of, just let me know. So I'm going to share my screen, and what I'm going to do, so typically you sign on to Toastmasters.org, and the first screen you're going to see is this screen. And we've always told everyone, if you want to go to your pathway, just click on Welcome Lloyd, substitute your name in there, welcome whoever you are. It takes you to this screen. You can go to your Basecamp on this tile over here, and you'll notice I'm a Basecamp manager, so I can go as Basecamp manager. We're not going to do that. That was a different session. Or you can go in through this to my transcript. So I'm going into my transcript right now. And the one thing I wanted to note is that this looks a little different than it used to. You'll notice the colors are different. They've got this blue instead of the burgundy. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to go back home because this is what the new Basecamp page looks like. And I don't know if you guys remember, but there used to be 5 blue tiles across the screen that went across the screen. And they've changed that. So something they did on May 28th is they tried to make the Basecamp interface a lot easier for everyone to comprehend and understand. So instead of the 5 tiles, they went to these easy to click on, I don't know what these would be, buttons, I guess. So they've got, if you want to go to your path, you click on this one. It says Paths and Learning, access all your path and learning materials. If you click on that, it takes you to your path. And you can see that I've got Engaging Humor is my path. I've started the Pathways Mentor Program, and Presentation Mastery is another path. So I'm actually working on 2 paths. But because I explore a lot, there's a lot of other things listed here, but these are just things that I've been looking at. If I go back home, they also have a button here that takes you to speech evaluations. So that's one thing. When people are doing their speeches, they may need to find an evaluation. If you just click on speech evaluations now, all the evaluations are here, all of them. So if somebody's looking for an evaluation form, this is a quick way. One click, there's the icebreaker. There's the second project. There's the second speech of the second project, and there's the third task of the second project. So they're all here listed in alphabetical order. And they give you some helpful tips here, information about those. So I'll just go back home again. And home takes me back to these 3 buttons. If you want to learn a little bit more about pathways, they have tutorials and resources. If you click on that, it takes you to all the tutorials. So it says here there's what, 1,598 results? Because it's showing you everything in every language. But if we click on tutorials, they actually have 6 tutorials here in English. They talk about finding your certificates, accessing your path, completing a level, completing a project, how to evaluate someone, and providing feedback and awarding badges, which is something we're doing tonight, by the way. So that's tutorials and resources. There's other things here like the evaluations, project descriptions, etc., the navigator, and we won't go into those, but those are accessible from that third button. Now, as a shortcut for me, they've listed my paths right here. So I could go into my engaging humor path just by clicking on open curriculum, and there I am in my path, engaging humor. Simple as that. So if I go back home, I could go into my mentor program, I could go into my presentation mastery. I noticed they've added something at the bottom, it's called suggested learning. That's probably the main things that people would work on. They go into their path, they would look for speech evaluations, they may look for tutorials on how to do things. On the right-hand side, they have a little video on, let's visit the new Basecamp homepage, which is what we just did. And they've said that they'll probably change this video from time to something else. I can't imagine what that would be, but right now it's talking about the Basecamp. So there's 3 tabs under here, my feedback, my badges, and my documents. And this is part of what we're exploring tonight. So if you click on my feedback, there's a spot here where people can give you feedback or you can give other people feedback. And right now, if you look here, the last time somebody gave me, they said, thank you for helping to set the right example for West winners this year with everything you do. I appreciate it greatly. And that came from, I think it came from our Basecamp manager, because it just says Club 99-330. A few years ago, I got one from Marvin Henry, a friend in Calgary. Now, and one of the things to remember here is this is just members from your club that can give you feedback. At the time, we were all Basecamp, or we were all Pathways guides, so we're all in the same club at the time, but we're not anymore. They can't give me feedback. The only people that can give me feedback now are people from my club. So this one here is I can request feedback. I could actually send a little note to someone and request feedback. But more importantly, if I wanted to give someone feedback, and David Story, one of the other presenters, is in my club. So let's just see. I've gone up to the top here to search for him. And I don't see David Story. So let's try David Fraser. And it doesn't give me anything, but let's look for people. Nothing worked. So we'll look for Deb, because apparently I'm in a different club. I'm in PBS. So here is Deb Salveson. So that's someone I could actually give some feedback to. So Deb, I once give Deb a badge. So I could say, I can send feedback to Deb alone, to Deb's managers, which just happens to be Basecamp manager, so it's pointless, or I can actually mention it to everyone. So I could give Deb some feedback, and it could go to everyone in the club so they all see it, or I could just send it to Deb. So I could do something like, Deb, so I'm going to give her feedback. I'm trying to type. So wonderful that you stepped into the role of, she's doing VP membership this year. Membership. You will do well. So now I post that. So when Deb comes to look, she's going to see that there's feedback from me that says, so wonderful that you stepped into the role of VP membership. You will do well. So it's something you can do for the members. I could actually give her a badge too. I could say, I could give her Courageous badge. So apparently I gave her this badge here, the Courageous badge, and I could say, great for volunteering to EP membership. Now, there's one problem with this system. Anybody guess what it is? Go ahead, Kate. I can
Do
see
you
Kate.
get notifications, or do you have to go into Pathways to look at your mail?
There are no notifications whatsoever.
Yeah.
So there's no way you're going to know that you got this feedback unless somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, I left you some feedback 2 years ago. How come you haven't read it? So it's kind of a cute system, but if you're not in Pathways, you're never going to see it, and there's no notification. So anyway, we'll just head back home and realize that people can give you feedback. You may or may not see it. But the whole idea is that, you know, you left the meeting, I just wanted to mention something. The way I do it these days, I might send somebody an email, or I'd probably say something before they left the meeting, but there is this tool here, and that's why I've never really promoted it lots, because there is no notification process, so you don't even know it's there. My badges, something similar. You'll notice Lloyd I have 21 badges, it says. So I was given badges back when we were playing around with Pathways guides. I got an inspirational badge, collaborative, visionary, you get the idea. But as you work through your path, I have 3 level 1 badges because I've completed level 1 3 times. I have 3 level 2 badges. I have 3 level 3 badges. I have 2 level 4 badges because I have only completed level 4 in 2 of my paths. And for some reason, I do not have a level 5 badge, although I've completed level 5 once. And then I have 3 of these exceptional badges. So over time, people have sent me badges for a variety of reasons. These ones, this one, 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 and these are sent by people to me, other club members, or probably at the time they were fellow Pathways guides and ambassadors. The level 1, 2, 3, and 4 are because I finished my levels. That's why I got those badges. I can see learning badges. So these are the learning badges, they say. Oh, I activated visionary communication. I activated. So this is just for starting a path. This is for starting a path. This one, oh gosh, that must be for the level 5. You think they'd put a 5 on it though, but anyway. And then they have some for feedback. These are feedback ones I got, and then all. So that's the badges. As I showed you in the feedback, you can actually get badges, or you can get them as you go through the paths. The other thing I wanted to talk about was I said portfolio, but it's actually, they've got it labeled as my documents. Up here, if you're in your path, and you click e-portfolio, it's the same thing. Documents is where I'm headed. But I'm going to go back home, and I'll use that nice little shortcut at the start. It says my documents. So actually I have to click on the word. And in here, this is a place where you can store documents. And we had a lot of questions over time. Do I have to file my evaluations there? There's no need to file anything here whatsoever. You don't have to put your evaluations on here. There's no requirement that they go there because you actually use a different system for moving through the paths. But I have filed every evaluation I ever got on here just for the sake of filing them. So here, if you look, I completed apparently project number 6, it says. And if you're to look at it, can you guys see the document that opened up? Probably not. I'm just going to share that. This is what opened up. And gosh, I don't know what that is. Vocal Variety, Project 6. Ah. So that would have been me that posted something here that wasn't necessary. Now, could that ever happen? So I'm going to go back there and look at a different one. So we're going to look at, this was an evaluation I got for engaging humor. You see the picture? Yeah, it just says, so all I ever do is I put the 2 evaluations together, and I take a camera and take a photograph with my smartphone. I send it to myself, and then I file it here. So this was Daniel McCall did an evaluation for me. So I put it there. Why not? Second speech was this one. but they're fairly simple to add. It just says add a file. So I'm in level 1. So if someone had just completed a level 1 evaluation for me and they sent it to me as a PDF, or, these are all JPEGs, they're all pictures. I'm curious, do I have any that are actually PDFs? These are all pictures too, JPEGs. JPEG, oh, here's a PDF, okay. So you can't see what opened, I'll just share. Oh, it didn't open up. Hang on, I'll open it. So this is what opened up. So somebody had sent me a PDF. So that's a typical one where they wrote on it by hand and somehow they scanned it into a PDF and sent it to me. So that's what that one looks like. And we'll go back here. So you can do PDFs. And all you have to do is you click on this add a file. So if you want to put anything in the portfolio, the first thing you do is you want to go in level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or just random documents. Let's say we're doing level 1, so you have to click on the word level 1, and then you just add a file. It starts up a select file dialog. Can you see that? Yeah, select file dialog. You find the file somewhere on your desktop. Xander School Stuff, MailChimp. Well, that's a good one. Hey, we ordered a tree. That'll work. And then just add it. And now we have Phyllis's tree order here that we're picking up on Saturday. If you want to get rid of it, you just delete it. Okay, so that's the ePortfolio. One thing about ePortfolio, I can store all these files here, but the day that I am no longer a Toastmaster is the day I no longer have access to these files. Or the day that my membership runs out for some reason, I have no access to these files. Now, the other thing we wanted to talk about was something called My Account. And up here in the top right, there's a little gearbox. And there's two things in there. There's My Account, or you can log out. And the log out is, we log out of Cornerstone On Demand because we're on this CSOD up here at the top. We're on Cornerstone On Demand right now. So we can log out of there, or we can work on My Account. So we'll go to My Account, and Lloyd has a picture of himself there. So you can actually change some of the information here. And you may have heard of this one earlier session where you can actually say, the last time I was an counter, I did that on Tuesday. And you can put the date there, or I did it on the 12th. Okay, what's today? No, that's the future. So I haven't done it in the future, the past. So you can actually say the last time I was a table topic master was on the 5th. The last time I was a Toastmaster was earlier today. Why is this? This is 2018. Eh? So we could go to today, June. There we go. I was a Toastmaster today. Now you'll notice that a lot of my information is from 2018 because this is not a fantastic thing. This is just the last time you did something, because as soon as I change it, it doesn't keep a history. It just keeps track of the last time I actually entered it here. Oh, now it wants me to go to my home page. I got to go back to My Account. Okay. So you can change your picture here. I see they have a pop-up. Change the picture. I can go find one somewhere, choose a file. I keep pictures kicking around somewhere. Photos, photo file. Well, there's me when I was 5 years old. Toastmasters, District 64, people pictures. There's Lloyd pictures. Here's a picture of Lloyd. What happened? Upload. And that could be my picture now. Save it. And we have a new picture of Lloyd there with a flat head. I can set the time zone. And there is something here, it says preferences. So if you really want to be a keener, you click on preferences. What did that do? Nothing?
Lord, could I ask you a quick question, Kate, here?
Sure.
Is it important to keep track of things like when you were an counter or a general evaluator? Is that for your own information, or is that something important to keep track of for some Toastmaster reason? I mean, I'm the new kid on the block, so I don't know anything.
Well, Kate, when you get to level 3, when you want to get past level 3 asks you if you've been a Toastmaster, an evaluator, and a table topic master. So you must have done those 3 roles before you can pass level 3. So that's a table topic master, an evaluator, and a Toastmaster. And they suggested that, well, gosh, here's table topic master. I did that on, 2019, this day. I was a Toastmaster today, and I was an evaluator. They don't even have it listed here. So I think what happened is Cornerstone On Demand sold this product, and they said you can keep track of the last time you did that. You'll notice Lloyd put 2018 here because I think it's almost a silly thing to have. But if somebody from your club said, well, when were you a table topics master? Then you could say, well, here, I kept track. I was a table topics master on August 16th, 2018. And you could show them that. But my thing is that if you're in a club where you're quite active and your vice president of education is there, they know that you were a table topics master 2 weeks ago. So it's really, I don't want to use the word useless, but if you could think of another term that sounds nicer than useless, that's what it is. But I thought I'd show you where it is because some people would probably swear by this thing that you should always update it. But
Thank you.
How
about an additional tracking, an additional means to track?
Well, that would be something that the club does outside of this. Yeah. Because you're the only one that can see this anyway, unless you bring someone and let them look over your shoulder, or maybe other people can see it. What I'll do is I'm going to go out and I'm going to come in, and this is how you get back to Toastmasters now. You go to this return to my Toastmasters profile. And I'm going to come in as the Basecamp manager. And not all of you are Basecamp managers, but the Basecamp manager has a little different view of things. And I'll go look at that guy named Lloyd. And the question was, can I see his roles? Yes, I can see what he put in here. I can actually see that Lloyd put he was Toastmaster on the 11th. So it would be a way that if you put the last time you were in there, then you could show them that at least your Basecamp manager could look and say, yeah, she was a Toastmaster on the 11th. I still say it's redundant because if somebody's watching you on the at the club and on the agendas, they know that you're doing that anyway. So that's why this is probably the last topic we covered because of that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Other questions? Because that's kind of the end of that part of the session anyway. I'm trying to get back to my account. So I always find if you get lost and frustrated, just click on welcome your name and it takes you back to the start. And I learned this from my wife. I'm going to my transcript. Pardon me, I didn't want to go there. I'm going to my Basecamp because it's such a nice new screen. It's that new screen they have. Other questions? Oh, I haven't been looking at the chat. I'll just look at the chat. Oh, okay. Somebody had to leave to go look after the daughter.
Can I have a question?
You bet. Go ahead.
Okay. So can everyone apply as a Basecamp manager or just certain positions?
The Basecamp manager is a role that's given to the president, vice president of education, and the secretary. And the main person that looks after Basecamp is supposed to be the vice president of education, because they look after all the educational programming and make sure that people do their speeches and they move along in their goals that they're looking for. For instance, if you said, I would like to finish level 2 this year, the vice president of education should try to help you get your speeches programmed and your projects to do that. So they would look after the base camp side of it. The vice president, or pardon me, the president and the secretary are also have access to base camp manager, but it's more as a backup. And then it depends on your club, on the skills that each member brings.
Okay, so we don't have to apply for that if you are a secretary or.
No, it comes automatically with your role.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, you can't ask for it. It's when they list you as the president of the club or the vice president of education of the club or the secretary of the club, automatically the role of base camp manager is given to you. In fact, what you'll see, I'll just go back to my Toastmasters profile. They will have this button and nobody else will. Those 3 people will have that button on their profiles. I'll show you if I go to West Winners.
Uh-huh.
Now I go to my West Winners club.
Yeah.
It just takes a little time. There is no button because I don't have that role at West Winners.
Okay. So
Somebody else is the president, vice president, education, and secretary.
okay, so if I go to my profile, I should see that because I'm a secretary?
Oh, yes. Are you a secretary now or starting in July?
Now.
Oh, okay, yeah. You
Now
should,
and starting in July.
oh, okay. You should see that right there.
Okay. All right,
And
thank you.
we did the base camp manager a couple of weeks ago, but really the base camp manager, if you go into base camp,
Uh-huh.
there's not a lot of things you do. You look after pending requests. Member progress is looking at reports, and tutorials is just tutorials. So your big job is clicking on pending requests. There are none here, so my job is done.
Oh,
But if there was a pending request there, then I would handle the pending request. It might be somebody completes a level or.
so if there are pending requests, you just have to act on them?
Yeah, I'll show you. It would just be somebody's name would be here. They say they've completed level 1. There'd be a check mark on this side to check off. And that's about it, basically, really. And the member reports, you can go into member progress. I think it's starting, yeah. And you can look at different reports. And I noticed Toastmasters changed it recently, so, but I can look at individual progress, level completions, path types, etc. And I don't want to go into it now because it takes too long to load up.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Hi, Lloyd, it's Joyce.
Hi.
Hi, I was just wondering, in the My Feedback, I'm looking at mine and we haven't used it or I don't have any feedback. I'm just wondering, all I seem to be able to do is to request feedback. Where do I click to give feedback?
Let's give it a whirl here. My feedback, because I say my feedback. So up in this search box, do you know somebody from your club? See,
yeah,
like up here, I'm looking for Deb. It was an easy
Yeah.
one. And so I selected Deb, and I think if I click feedback, then I can give Deb some
Yes.
feedback.
That was the key that I could not figure out. Thank
And
you.
it's not always easy because I was trying to find David, but I have no Davids in this club. Apparently, if I type club, well, that does nothing for me anyway. That's the Basecamp manager. 7194. If I do the club number, member. Yeah, anyway, look for their name. I know Alfred might be in here. No. See, they're in more than one club, so sometimes it gets confusing. Glenn's in my club. So if I want to give Glenn some feedback, I can click Glenn. So here's Glenn. He filled out a few things here. He was a speech evaluator last year, so he's not always filling that out. And again, I said it's not critical anyway, and then I could give him some feedback. I've never given Glenn feedback, so it'd be the first time. So I can give him a badge, or I can give it to Glenn's managers, Glenn, or everyone. Probably Glenn. Give him a badge. Exceptional. Post. And someday he'll go in there and say, why did you give me an exceptional badge? And I'll say, Glenn, you know, I really don't know. Anything else, guys? Where are we at? 7:36. Not bad. More questions?
I do have a question.
Sure.
As Basecamp manager, how do I look at a member's progress on?
Well, there's a good sign, service unavailable. Well, this could be fun.
I'm thinking, as you probably guess, I'm thinking of Hazel. I would like to know how I can check online what is being recorded for her, because she's doing her project, her pathway on paper.
So if we came back in as a Basecamp manager, progress, go. I would say, so I came in as a Basecamp manager.
Okay, so you can look at the
So I'm gonna go look at Lloyd, because Basecamp manager and Lloyd are two different people. Like, maybe that's a bit confusing. Maybe I'll look at someone else. Let's look at, who's been doing speeches? Well, I'll do Deb. So I'll look at Deb. So here's Deb Salveson. And I'm going to go look at her e-portfolio. No, I'm not. I'm going to go look at her paths and learning. Sorry. So she has, I can see that she's got effective coaching. She has motivational strategies and presentation mastery. All three are in progress. So I'll just go look at effective coaching for now. And apparently she's done nothing in that. We'll go look at her motivational strategies. And in motivational strategies, level 1 is complete 100%. Level 2 is complete 100%. And level 3, she's finished her understanding emotional intelligence. And she's done 2 projects in here, but she hasn't completed it yet.
Okay, I think I understand that.
Now we'll just look at the other one she had, if I can get back there. Her other one was presentation mastery, so we can click on her presentation mastery, and she has finished a couple of projects in level 1, that's all. So if you were to go in and you know, like type Hazel, if you go in as Pathways Basecamp Manager, type Hazel and she's in there, click on her name. So we did Deb. Click on her name, and then Paths and Learning, and you can see what's been filled in for her. Okay. Now you have a little different task of moving her along because that's a different process, but it's something we could cover offline, I guess. But at least you can check where it is, or where she is in her path.
Yeah, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel I'm not doing a great job as Basecamp manager because I'm trying to figure it out as I go along.
Well, ask for help one day, and while we're all on Zoom yet, it's a good time to get some help, because you can share your screen and we can just walk you through it and watch what you're doing.
Okay, that's a good suggestion.
Instead of us sharing our screen, and I've done that with some clubs. Terry's on here. We did that one night with her club, and we had them actually share their screen, and I said, oh, click that, you see this is what you have to do next, and they got to do it themselves on their screens.
Okay, thanks.
And the nice thing about this video's taped, so then you can always come back to it, Ardith, and look at what we talked about. Any other questions?
Yeah, I do have another question, Lloyd. I just noticed one of the things for your pathways was the mentor program.
Okay. Did you want to see that?
Where I'm just more curious as well as to your experience with it, or what's it all about, or how can we encourage our people? It sounds like you don't even have it as an option until you complete level 2.
Yeah, you have to finish level 2, and then this you have access to this. And
okay.
You know, that might be, where am I? I want to go into my Basecamp, sorry. But I mentioned here that it had suggested learning.
Mm-hmm.
After level 2, the Pathways Mentor Program would be listed here.
So that doesn't cost more money like other
No,
paths do?
no.
Okay.
You have to finish, once you finish level 2, then that they will offer you the mentor program in suggested learning. So I took it and I started it. I noticed I've done the mentor program, launched it, and prepared to mentor. My next 2 steps are mentoring and advanced mentoring. So my VP education has to assign me a mentor to mentor with, and it says here just short term. And then this one was, this thing scared me. It said 6 months. And because I was doing so much this year, I wasn't ready for that. But I have to pick something for a 6-month term.
So what do you think overall the program's about, to come alongside with another club member and mentor them, I suppose?
Yeah, basically mentor them. The short-term mentoring was just to help them with something shorter term. And then this, I didn't read into the details. I do have you can see the pages here. I do keep a Pathways help page.
Lloyd, I have a question. Going back to the mentoring program, is there some type of recognition that's given? Is it like completing a path, or do you get a badge, or what do you?
Well, you probably get a certificate and you'll have a badge on there.
Okay.
See, I put this here on this, I do the support site, justholler.com/pathways. And I went through the mentor program and had to read up about it. So it's a quick guide to the program and 5 projects. So there are 5 projects apparently in this mentor program. And when you open this up, it explains it a bit more. So it's just a PDF that I put there to explain it a bit more if you want to go read that. They have the introduction. Everyone takes a project. And this is what's available after you complete level 2 below here. Prepare to mentor level 3 project. Mentoring, it's a level 4 project, provides opportunity to practice mentoring. Mentor appear on a single pathway project, so that's that easy one. And this is a 6-month one. It's provided with tools to record, keep, and receive feedback and to give a speech. So I have to do something for 6 months with them, keep record keeping, and then get feedback from them. So it's a little bit more intensive.
Okay, can I ask another question, Lloyd?
You bet, sure.
Okay, so once you enroll on a path, you've chosen a path, you're just a beginner. Is there a time frame where you have to finish that certain path that you've enrolled in?
Nope, there's no time frame. It's everything in Toastmasters is at your own pace. If you want to finish it in 6 months, fantastic. If you want to take 2 years, fantastic. If you want to take 5 years, that's up to you.
Okay.
And it depends why you join Toastmasters. If you join Toastmasters to become a better speaker, you want to get done the path quicker.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's up to you. Anyone else?
I do have a quick question.
Sure.
As you go through your different levels that you were just showing us previously,
Yep.
Is it the person who has done the work ticks off the various levels, or is it the VP education who fills in that I completed level 1 of something or other?
No, it's
somebody else.
You look after it yourself.
Okay.
I showed you there was a self-assessment beforehand.
Yes.
So there's a self-assessment before you start. You do the speech and you do the project, you read about it and you do the speech. After you do the speech, you go back in and you do the self-assessment after. So you gauge yourself before you start, you gauge yourself after, and as you click out of that screen, it says, congratulations, you've completed the project.
Okay.
So you've guided that yourself. Now, once you get to the whole level complete, and in level 1, there's, I believe, 4 speeches and 1 evaluation you have to do. When you complete level 1, then the Basecamp manager comes in and confirms it at that point.
Okay.
So you can get all the way up to level 1 and then somebody checks on you to make sure you completed that. And they have the option to approve or reject. But if they're paying attention to you at the club, typically I say, you know, if I'm the VPE and you did the speech tonight, you're probably going to introduce it as, this is my final speech to complete level 1. And then we'll all know that. I go home tonight, I check that you completed it, and then I go in there and confirm that you've done level 1. Once you've completed level 1, then there's a certificate available there. Anyway, there's a certificate.
Okay. Oh, yes.
So you can print that up, take it to the club, or your your Basecamp manager has access to this too. They can go print it up as well.
Mhm.
And it's nice for them to keep track and then share it at the club one evening that you got your level 1. Other questions?
Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. Questions? If not, I'll just say thank you for attending. This will be posted on the YouTube site for you guys to see, and we'll share that. So thank you all for coming, and we appreciate your attendance.